Good morning, people. All right, it's time to reflect on a realist perspective. What happened yesterday? Manchester United went to Nottingham Forest and played. And of course, the result is what we see here. Forest won with 1-0. But the overarching experience that I want to talk about here, rather than going on doom and gloom, what Twitter and social media meltdown are saying. Man United did play actually quite good football yesterday, if you just think about it. Me personally, I don't like to do a reaction show after the game because the emotions is too high, clogs my judgment, and better to sleep on it. Of course, you're always upset when you lose a game, but if you sort of look at the game in isolation, Nottingham Forest had one chance, one opportunity, and there was a counter-attacking opportunity in which they scored at by no other than our own Anthony Elanga. Now, what I want to talk about in this video, of course, is the match in isolation, but also a lot of social media saying, why did we get rid of Anthony Elanga? We should have sold Garnacho over Elanga. This is the Stockholm Syndrome, and I'm going to break it down. But guys, please, welcome back to Mufc Realist TV. Do not forget to like and subscribe. In this video, we're going to talk about, break down the overall stats, the game itself. We're going to talk about Elanga and the way we're moving forward to the next couple of games with Manchester United facing Lyon and City next. Guys, do me a favor, like and subscribe to this recording. Okay, let's go. Let's not avoid the elephant in the room. My initial reaction, of course, a loss is a loss. It always feels like a draw, but if you actually look at the result, doesn't really reflect on the game in general. If you look at the match stats, yes, the scoreboard says 1-0, but I see progression. I see that the players under Ruben Amorim are starting to understand, starting to dominating the ball, but we certainly need a better goalkeeper, is what I've been saying, and we are lacking the clinical finisher on top, of course. If you look at the stats in general, some people say, but Mick, stats doesn't say anything, it's about results. Yes, but stats tells you, the overarching, game performance. If you look at total shots, Forest had 8 shots while Man United had whooping 23 shots. Does that tell you who was the better side here, right? Shots on target, Man United had 6 shots on target while they had 2. In terms of possession, this is something that we can look at, because once they scored that goal with the Elanga, they just sit back. And our possession is 69% versus their 31%. And total passes completed 649 for their 310. So that tells me that the result, yes, football is a result business, but Manchester United were actually the better team, There was one moment of madness where Anthony Elanga did a world record of, running 85 meters in 8.5 seconds with the ball and score lightning fast, like Mick, Dan James kind of style. And I want to talk to you about the social media meltdown, because there's been numerous polls say, should we bring Anthony Elanga back? He's a good player, but there is a reason why we sold Anthony Elanga. If you look at Nottingham Forest and if you look at Manchester United, of course, Forest gave him an opportunity to develop, but Nottingham Forest plays that transition-based attacking football, counter-attacking football. So they are accustomed to play to sit back deep and allow players to have the ball. They're more happier not to have the ball, but they're so potent this season, and kudos to Nuno Espirito Santos when they're actually hitting the teams on transition. And this is where Anthony Elanga fits in well. But if you look at the game in isolation, as soon as Nottingham Forest, try to create something in open play, the strikers, Elanga, they were toothless. They had no answers. So would I take him back to Man United to play as a left-sided wing-back or right-sided wing-back? The answer is no. You never go back to your ex. There is a reason why you broke up with your ex, and you got to look at, does it fit the system? Yeah. Anthony Elanga, in my opinion, is a good footballer. He's got pace, he's got trickery, but he does not fit Manchester United, and that is the reason why Manchester United sold him. So any other ex-player will give them a better fit of a doubt to say, well, you did fit in with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and the counter-attacking. Yeah, you did well. But now under Ruben Amorim, when we're actually playing 3-4-3 system, Elanga would not fit. So yeah, kudos to Elanga. He did well, but that was the only chance, the only opportunity, and we couldn't catch up with the space. We kind of find him out, and at the end of the day, if I look at what young Lenny Euro did, he did well against him at the end of the day. And Lenny Euro is not slow himself. But in isolation, Manchester United and Ruben Amorim, I think he did well, in terms of playing away. We dominated the possession, but we couldn't just create chances. Diego Dalot hit the crossbar with his header. And then what impressed me was the utilization of the whole squad. Ruben Amorim got this right. He rotated the squad well, thinking about Lyon, thinking about the injuries, thinking about Manchester City. Of course, he started with Casemiro. That looks like he's revving up like a Lipizan horse. The more you play Casemiro, the better he gets, with Bruno Fernandes and Ugarte, of course. That was the midfield. But I like the idea that he actually rotated the squad, thinking like, okay, well, I got to think about Lyon here. So he subbed out, Ugarte, brings in Christian Eriksen for more creativity, takes out Casemiro and brings on, who does it bring on? I can't remember. Mason Mount as well, who, by the way, almost scored in the 80th minute. So for me, it's just a sign, like, and also the madness of throwing in Harry Maguire as a striker on the top. By the way, and Harry Maguire almost also scored in the dying second. So for me, a 1-0 loss is a 1-0 loss. You cannot sugarcoat it. But I look at the overarching performances, and I look at the rotation of the squad, and I can see an improvement. I can see where Nottingham Forest is a far much better team than Lyon, and I can see that there is sort of a pattern to how we're going to play against Lyon in the Europa League quarterfinals, guys. So I'm not worried about that one. I'm just looking at the bench. We still haven't been able to throw in Kobe Mainoo in there. We haven't even had the chance to throw in, let's say, Amad Diallo. But you can argue to the point that Patrick Dorgo, yes, he played Dalot. Dalot is probably not the Ruben Amorim's favorite right winger. But if you all of a sudden throw in Amad Diallo into the mix as a right wing back, wow, we have a chance. And that's the thing. And you can sort of utilize Mason Mount as one of the number 10s. Xerxes, Garnacho, Bruno is kind of shown that he's better to play as a number 8 than a number 6 in that double pivot, and have Ugarte. So I think Man United, we are looking good. And if you look at the summer transfer window, I don't think we need to spend a lot of money. We can clearly see that we need to get a right wing back in, a specialist in that position, because we got Dog on that side as well. Onana, yes, he did, some people say that he could have saved that goal. Yes, he could have, but he's not the goalkeeper that we need. He was recruited under Erik ten Hag for a special style of football. And if we can replace Onana and also get the top of the sandwich, the striker, more experience, because Rasmus Højlund came in, he did quite well, but he didn't really score. And we need a little bit more creativity in the midfield. So potentially 3 signings for me in the summer, and we can see that this squad will be totally different next season. Who will that be? Well, a goalkeeper, a midfielder, a striker, and a potential right winger. But in terms of moving forward, I would say that, yeah, it looks like Man United will be finishing off a little bit better than we started. We could look at, some people say critical about Ruben Amorim, but listen, we all know what it is. Manchester United being poor for a reason. I'm not going to talk about excuses, but listen, if you are replacing a manager 9 games into the season, second Ten Hag, and bring in a Ruben Amorim that clearly said we are going to suffer and prepare for a storm. He knew that this is going to take time. So I think that the fans are behind him. You can see the way-going fans chanting his song, Ruben Amorim, he brings us back to the glory days. So it is seeing to me that the players are on board, the fans are on board. We are about to have a little bit more patience, and we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So the overarching message for me, on this video is to say, well, again, the result does not really, reflect on the overarching performance. I want to see performance. I want to see progression. And I think that we saw yesterday, it is sort of leaning towards progression, in my opinion. But as per usual, I've been trying to wrap up this reaction video less than 10 minutes, rather to be emotional. I want it to be real, but as per usual, I want to hear your thoughts and feelings. What do you think? Do you see progression? Do you see that Man United can go further in the Europa League? And yeah, that's about it, guys. Of course, I'm not happy with the 1-0 loss. We could have finished 1-1. A 1-1 result would have been fair because Man United was kind of the better team. But anyway, that's just my thoughts and opinions. I'm keen to hear you. Leave a comment in the non-live comment section down there in the box, and we shall see you to the next time. Glory, glory, Man United. I'm out of here. Peace. See you to the next one.
Thank you so much for stopping by and watching Mufc Realist TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.
I kind of like that song. Ruben Amorim, da 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 da.